Hi Chakits, I have been following you and watching your YouTube channel for years.
I have decided to finally relocate to Las Vegas and want to start a new chapter in my life. I know you're the perfect realtor to help guide me to find my next dream home. I am looking for a modern kitchen, large backyard with a pool and a golf course community.
My name is Chakits Krulsawat with Simply Vegas, a licensed real estate agent out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I help buyers like this all the time, so if you're looking for a licensed professional, give us a call at 702-319-1092 or visit lvhomeexperts.com. Buying a home starts here. Is your credit score holding you back from purchasing a home? GC Credit Coaches is a repair company that's made easy. Their goal is to challenge and remove all negative errors that hurt your credit score. On average, GC clients see about 10.2 negative items removed over 4 months. Start improving your credit score today with a simple 2-minute online enrollment for a free consultation and a complete credit audit. GC Credit Coaches offers competitive monthly pricing, no contracts, no hidden fees, and the service stops once you are satisfied. GC Credit Coaches removes inquiries, collections, charge-off bankruptcies, and repossessions. Don't forget to visit gccreditcoaches.com. All right, guys, welcome to the LV Home Experts Podcast. This is where we talk about real estate and financing. So today I have a very special guest that I wanted to bring on. We talked about this for some time. This gentleman right here is John Gafford. He's actually a mentor of mine. We've been in business now for how long have I been here?
Oh my God, it's been 14 years? 14 years, I think? Been a minute.
Now, if you guys don't know who John Gafford is, you're probably under a rock. So when it comes to the real estate industry here in Las Vegas, everybody knows who John is, right?
Not always for the right reasons. Sometimes the right reasons.
Well, no, for the good reasons. No. But look, at the end of the day, if anybody knows real estate, guys, it's this guy right here. He's got multiple businesses. His main business is real estate. He's in the mortgage business. He's into the title business as well. He's into everything. So, like I said, when it comes to real estate, this is the guy. So, I want to talk about a couple things today.
Cool.
First and foremost, how's everything going?
Everything's going good, man. It's so great to see our agents here. And for those of you who don't know, obviously, Chakits works here at Simply Vegas with us. And in these challenging times, man, in these times when rates go high and the markets are unstable, it's so impressive to watch all of you guys excel and do as well as you are. I hear these stories from other brokers. This morning I had a call with 15 very large company owners from across the country. Some of them had 5,000 agents. I mean, yeah. These are players that I was on the call with. And they're all talking about struggling and how they're not doing well and how their numbers are decreasing and how they're not doing this. And the can-do attitude that so many of you guys have here at Simply Vegas, your team, the other great teams that we have here, is just phenomenal. So compared to what everybody else is seeing out there, I'm going to say awesome. I mean, just really, really tremendous. And it really comes down to, I think, when you surround yourself with the right people and this hive of activity that we have in our offices and having you here and some of the other groups that are here, really just having them feed off of each other is really kind of, they say that you don't know who's skinny dipping until the tide goes out.
Yeah.
Tide's out right now. Tide's out.
So what do you mean by that for all the viewers out there?
Well, what I mean is, look, there's a lot of, when times get tough, it's very hard to continue to perpetuate your real estate business because this is a cyclical business. And, anybody that says, like, the running joke with realtors is, oh, it's always a good time to buy a house. It's always a good time. When's the best time to buy a house? Right now. Do you want to buy a house? And it's kind of a hack thing. And is now a wonderful time to buy a property? The answer is it depends, right? It depends. And I tell people that in this business, there's two kinds of agents, right? There's people that are going to stand on, if you have to sail out into those waters, if you have a situation where this is the best time for you to do something, be it you have a life event that's occurred that you need to get a new property, be it you got transferred into a new job, be it you're just throwing money away on rent and you want to get in the market before the surge when rates do come down, whatever the circumstance might be for you in that situation, you don't want somebody that, if you have to sail out into those choppy waters, you don't want somebody to sit on the sidelines and yell, "You're going to drown" from the beach, right?
Yes.
And you guys are so good at being that lighthouse out there that says, like, look, I understand the waters might be a little choppy right now, but we're going to guide you safely and effectively through these rough seas.
What makes you think, the agents here, what we're doing different from other companies? Because this company has less than 400 or something like that. Agents?
No, we're at 550 is the number we're at right now. Yeah, okay. It's been as high as 600, and every time it's so funny. 600 seems to be the number that every time he hits that number, me and Gavin always go, "Oh man, we got too many agents." It's that's always the number, and I think the biggest thing that we do here that makes a difference is our expectation of success out of our people. Yeah. And there's a million places that you can quote unquote hang a real estate license. And this isn't one of them. We expect our agents to be successful because if I surround you with a bunch of zeros, what is that going to do for you?
Yeah.
Nothing. And so every 6 months or so, we do invite people that are not working in the business to move their license to somewhere else. Now, keep in mind, I've never gotten rid of somebody that is interested in helping themselves. There's a lot of people like, look, I'm just struggling. I see them grinding every day. For those people, we'll find a solution. We will help them. We'll change their business plan. We'll get them on a team. We'll get them a lead source. We will make a move with them to change their business. But I'm talking about the people that haven't even bothered to log into our systems for 6 months. Yeah. Haven't done anything for 6 months. What are you doing? You're not contributing to the conversation. And here, that culture of collaboration we have, if you're not contributing to the conversation, then you don't really have a whole lot of value to not just us as a company, but everybody that works here.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about the housing market.
Okay.
Every agent that I bring on, I always ask them, from your perspective, what is taking place right now with the housing market?
Well, let's see. We just had the best 2 days. I have a unique perspective in this, which is nice because, again, we not just own Simply Vegas, but we also own, like you said, Streamline Home Loans, which is the largest rocket broker in the state of Nevada. We also own Clear Title. So I get to see transactional business at 3 different levels of the market. So, for example, if Clear is doing extremely well, but we're not opening deals here, I can look at the people on my team especially and be like, we had a great day at Clear. Somebody's selling real estate. It's just not you. We've got to work harder and work harder smarter. But we had a great day with rates this week, earlier in the week. Best 2 days we've had in rates for a long time, dipping down in the mid 7s. The problem with the market right now is obviously the problem that was created by the Fed before when they dropped rates into the 2s and 3s. If you're lucky enough to get one of those, God bless. I got one too.
You're locked
we
in.
got one.
You're not
happy.
going anywhere.
I'm going to give you a solution in just a minute for that though, but I'll give you a solution that you can sleep with. But at the end of the day, they created this giant problem where they created these golden handcuffs for folks.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, well, I can't leave my house even if I want to move up because I have this incredible rate. What you're going to see is, the Mortgage Bankers Association projections on the rates said that by Q4, they should be in the low 7s. And then by mid-year next year, they should be down in the 6s. I think when you see them creep in the 6s, and especially when you get in the 5s, you're going to see a massive rush of people into the real estate market. Now, the funny thing that I think is all of the talking heads and prognosticators that are out there, and a couple of them, my favorite thing to do with these people is if you're on social media and you're a guru in real estate, and I see you saying something I think is nonsense, I'll straight hit you in the DMs and say, want to go for $1,000. I do it all the time.
That's the funny part, and that's how everybody knows who John is. He'll call you out.
I'm like, let's go for $1,000. I'll bet $10,000 you're full of shit, right? Yeah. And those same people that were so adamant that the real estate market was going to crash and don't do anything are now the people that are on saying, "Oh, you got to go buy. You better buy now. You better buy now," because we've seen the prices continue to increase, even though the volume has gone down, which makes no sense.
It's kind of amazing to me because, the height of our boom was at 480, and it dropped down to 420.
Yeah.
6 months later, right, we're now back at 450,000 for the median price point for
coming back up.
And a lot of people, when I have a conversation with them, especially with buyers from out of state, they're like, "Hey, I want a discount." And I'm like, hey, what price point you're at? They're like, I'm around the 5 range.
Yeah.
And I have to explain to them, hey, at the 5 range, it's not what you're hearing out there.
Yeah.
Because real estate, you have macro level and also micro level, right? So it's very local here, localized of what's going on. And when they come out here, they start to realize when they start to lose 1, 2, or 3 offers, they start to realize, hey, maybe I should start to listen to the agent, and I have a better understanding of what's going on with the housing market.
Yeah, they got to get educated. Sometimes people have to get educated, and sometimes a good agent will understand that, like, okay, I'm gonna let you get your heart broken a little bit.
Exactly.
And like one of the things that I always teach is when people talk like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm always like, I like to go back to high school, and I go, hey man, remember that first girl that you were with, that very first girl that like broke your heart? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, if I could go back in time and save you from that, would you want me to? And if they're like, well, yeah, that'd be great. But like, okay, then we need to do this my way. Because the way you're doing it, you're about to get broken up with again, and it's going to be a real problem. And you're going to be upset. But sometimes you got to let people do that. And you mentioned the Las Vegas market being so unique as to everything else. And the reason is people don't realize this. They fly in or drive in and they see nothing but dirt in every direction, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff. Well, all of that land is owned by the BLM. It's not like privately held, and they've been dripping it out very, very slow. They've been finishing off the infill pieces, but now there's a little more stuff out in Red Rock Canyon they're dripping off. I think they just sold off something like 500 acres. I think they just did in an auction last week. But for the most part, that land that you see when you drive in here is never going to be developed. Like you look at markets like Southern California where they have urban bleed, where like you never really realize you leave this city and go to the next one because it just doesn't stop. Well, what affects this market bleeds into the next, bleeds into the next. You look at Phoenix where, now it takes like an hour and 45 minutes to drive from one side to the other because it's just gotten bigger and bigger and expanding. Well, in Vegas, we're essentially an island surrounded by, ninth island, surrounded by sand instead of surrounded by water. So that's one of the reasons that the hedge funds love this market as much as they can, because they can really control the pricing if they can get enough of the inventory. Like in 2012, 13, when Blackstone and Goldman Sachs and everybody was buying a lot of property here, I bought a lot of property for both of them. I always saw it when people were like, oh, eventually they'll crash, the market's going to crash. Well, it won't, because these giant hedge funds own so much now of the housing stock in Las Vegas that if prices started to fall, they would simply start buying everything else up underneath it to protect their pricing, because you can artificially affect that.
Would you say it's probably about 10% of the marketplace? Or?
Oh yeah, here cash easily. And it's getting worse every day.
Because right now I'm looking at the closings, the cash buyers are about 22% of the market share, which is, I've noticed that is starting to creep up too as well.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of these buyers are from California. However, I haven't seen any like hedge funds lately buy out here.
Well, they still do if the deal is right. But the problem is you might not see the big funds, but it's the mid-sized funds. It's everybody now, because now you have your larger funds backing smaller funds that are still acquiring property. But the biggest problem for the American homeowner, the first-time homeowner, the homeowner that has a dream, is the commoditization of the single-family home. As soon as that became a commodity to be swapped in packages by huge hedge funds, I mean, your average person is really going to have a tough time with that.
Well, which is kind of fascinating, because the average household income here is $80,000, but now a home's at $450,000. At $80,000,
not affordable.
Exactly. So basically, if you're a first-time home buyer, just to even save money at this point, based upon inflation and all the costs is just getting skyrocketed, and you got kids, you got a car payment, it's hard for the first-time home buyer just to even save at $80,000 a year to even have a down payment. Yeah, we're getting back to that time in like 2004, 5, when if you're a first-time home buyer, you really looked at condos. I mean, condos. There were a ton of condo conversions that happened here in the Valley, and for a reason. And the reason was that reason, because it was affordable housing that could get done. So it's a matter of maybe, you got to remember, your first home doesn't have to be your forever home. But if you're a forever renter, you're never going to build any type of wealth. 88% of people in this country, the only net worth they have is the equity in their house. That's it. So if you don't own a house at all, there's a good chance your net worth is probably zero. Yeah. And that's a problem. Now, I want to go back. You mentioned that interest rates were hovering probably about like 7.5 or 7.25. You feel that mid next year it could drop down to 6. We get a flood of buyers. So would you say it would be a good time to buy now and forecast that, hey, I'm going to refinance? Yeah, for sure. Because here's what's going to happen.
the house that you want to buy today, that yes, you're going to have a 7.25% or 7.5% rate if you can get it bought down by the seller. Again, now, but between now and Christmas is my favorite time to shop for houses. There's no better time, I think, to shop for houses than between now and Christmas. It just slows down. So there's less competition. Sellers that have to sell get a little desperate. They're willing to wheel and do a little bit more, give you more money to make those rates go down. But I think what you're going to see is as the rates come down, there's going to be a flood of buyers come to the market, driving pricing up. And so the offset is going to be different because you'd rather pay more for the house or you'd rather pay less for the house at a little bit higher rate than more for the house at a lower rate.
Because you can always refinance.
You can refi that.
If it was in reverse, you don't want to do that because
you can't refi the purchase price.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think you're going to see that tip down. And then when I think it gets to in the mid fives, which I absolutely believe it will before the election next year. If you think there's any way those rates aren't going to be in a mid five when there's a presidential election going on, you're nuts. It won't happen. Miraculously, the Fed's going to figure it out and inflation will slow down and everything will be hunky dory and do what you got to do. Regardless of if that's real or not, that's going to happen. But I think what you're going to see is you're not going to see the move-up buyer that we've always seen traditionally. Yeah. Because the move-up buyer we've always seen is, let me put my house on the market, let me sell my house or find another one, and I'll use the equity from this house to go into the next one. The move that you're going to start to see is, okay, I'm going to play the same game that the hedge funds are playing. I want to play that game as well. So instead of selling my house, I'm going to pull a HELOC against my house. Even if it's higher than my standard mortgage rate of 5.5, I don't need to pull the entire equity position out of it. I need to pull enough to get my down payment on my next house. And now, if I can pull a HELOC out here, because I have my 2.5% mortgage from before, if I can cash flow positive that property $400 or $500 a month and just pull the equity out, including the cost of the HELOC, well, now I can offset my new payment by $400 or $500 and I get to keep both properties. So I don't think we're going to see this glut of inventory come on when those numbers tip down. I think people are going to be smart, and more people than you think are going to hang on to those properties.
December.
Yeah.
Do you think the feds are going to raise rates?
They've mentioned that they might.
Your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know. I tend to focus on what I can control. Mm-hmm. And again, I want our people to be that lighthouse. The seas are going to get choppier before they get smoother. I don't think I think we've maybe maxed out. Some of the friends I have say yes, some say no. Who knows what the Fed is going to do? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Now, this is kind of fascinating. I've noticed on the luxury side, mm-hmm. right? Anything above $1 million, I think it's up about 9% from last year. Mm-hmm. Things are really moving, and a lot of them are paying cash, which is kind of fascinating. That tells me there's a lot of money that's coming into the city.
A ton of money.
They're repositioning, right? They're moving into tangible assets, no matter if it's precious metals or mm-hmm.
A
house, whatever it is. It seems like some of them got extra cash and they're like, hey, I need to put some money somewhere. Why do you think?
Why do I think it's driving?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think this is what's driving the luxury market in Vegas right now. I think. And there's a conversation I've had with a bunch of funds, a bunch of people that have looked to get into that business of buying homes here. It's really hard to go out and buy a portfolio of 1,800 square foot houses somewhere between Green Valley up the Summerlin Hook.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to do that. It's virtually impossible. However, where there is going to be a great need in Vegas over the next 2 years is going to be, I'll call it mid-luxury, because now, we got properties that are $25 million in this town. I never would have thought that would have happened 10 years ago.
That's crazy.
But call it mid-luxury, that $1.5, $2 million price range, where you're going to need people on midterm rentals, because if Mark Wahlberg gets his way and gets these studios built, which it looks like he's going to do, if Will Ferrell has to come to Vegas for 2 months to shoot a movie, do you think he's going to want to stay at the Wynn with his family?
Yeah.
No, he's going to want some sort of corporate housing that he can rent on a midterm, and that's the stuff that's going to become really, really valuable. As players get traded in to all of our sports teams, now we just added baseball. They don't necessarily want to rush to buy a house. If there were options that they could lease in certain places in luxury, they would do it till they figure out what's going on.
The luxury market is going up pretty fast. I just seen that article today. There was that home that was for sale for $25 million.
That's wild.
From Rocket Mortgage. The owner. I forget his name though, but he bought that.
The house in Spanish Trails.
Oh no! This one's up here in McDonald Highlands.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the
I think it's like 18 Peak. I think it was. I don't remember the address, but anyway, he just put it back on the market for $35 million. I think he bought it for 24 million
And just threw it up for 35.
and for 35 million, which is unbelievable. And what they're building up there, they're building like 30,000 square foot homes, 50,000 square foot homes. Like, I'm talking to some of these developers. They're talking about they're building homes that are $75 million here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I remember 5-6 years ago, I was just hoping to get a listing at $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, if you got $1 million deal, that was big. Now, $1 million is nothing, right?
You know, and I gotta tell you, what's nice about that too is the parity in the high end here. I remember, I've been doing this now for a long time in Vegas, and I can remember even when we started Simply Vegas 12 years ago, there was literally 6 people in town that listed the ultra luxury stuff.
Yeah.
There were 6 people that you would call. Luckily, my business partner Gavin is one of them, and on this side of town, I did pretty well. But now the parity there is what's happened, and the opportunities that have been opened up for your next wave of agents like you. And I mean, just the reach you have through social media and the value that the high end is seeing through there, and working with these developers and getting these deals done. It just makes a lot of sense not to go with the same folks. And I mean, you look at one of our agents, Mark Fry, I'll give him a shout out. I mean, I was looking at the sheet today. He double-ended 2 deals this week, one for 5.25 million, one for 1.6 million.
That is crazy.
This week, double end, both sides.
This week. Unbelievable.
That's wild.
Great job, Mark.
Great job. No, I picked up the phone. I was like,
dope.
dude, you're balling. That's killer.
Wow.
That's a great job.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but and you see just, you guys and just so many of the other groups that work at Simply Vegas doing that high-end stuff now. It's not all about one person.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why, of all the stats we have at the company, like the one that I'm most proud of is of any of the big companies, we have the highest average sales price of any of the, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, we crush everybody else, which is great.
Now, you own a mortgage company. How's the mortgage side doing?
Hard. It's very, very hard. It's not hard to get deals done. It's hard for mortgage people to make money right now. It's very hard.
Are the underwriters, are they a little bit more strict?
Yes,
with
the stuff they're sending over, the conditions are harder. Everything is tighter right now. You just feel it, like the screws get turned a little bit. Just everything is a little tighter. The LOs are having to, and it's not just our company, it's every company.
Yeah.
You're having to eat your comp to nothing to get deals done just to keep them moving. And it's a challenge. That's, of all the businesses we have, the mortgage business, it's been the most challenging.
So loan applications are down, would you say about 50%?
Yeah, probably, maybe not that much.
Okay.
Again, Streamline is very advantageous in the fact that so many of our good Simply agents do use Streamline and keep feeding them applications.
Now, I want to plug in Streamline a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of these programs that Streamline has to offer, and why would somebody want to use Streamline?
Man, so many different things. We started some industry changing things that we've done. One of the things I'm most proud about all our companies is we're not beholden to some giant corporate titan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can move quickly as we need to move. We can be flexible with what we want to do. For example, like the affinity program where we started, where essentially it is an employee benefit for employers, where we'll come in and give you this benefit to add in your benefit package, where any property that they want to buy, the loan officer will kick down, I think, half a point, and then the realtor that works the deal will kick in a point. No, I'm sorry. The loan officer kicks in a point and the realtor kicks in a point. So they get 2 points in closing costs they never have to pay back. It's not a grant. It's not a fund. It's money that we simply fund directly into the deal that makes that work. And then on the agent side, we're doing some really interesting things. We just got this back today. But again, being Rocket's largest, Rocket TPO has agreed now that, and I know we're going to talk about the buyer's agent's commission thing. We're going to get to the buyer side of things, but this kind of goes hand in hand with that, because one of the responsibilities that we have is making sure that we can make the most money possible for our agents.
Yeah.
And if buyer's agents commissions are going to get constricted, which I do believe they will over the next several years, my job is to help them replace that income. So we went to Rocket and said, okay, here's the deal. We need to legally be able to include our agents in as many parts of the transaction as we can. So Rocket has graciously agreed to any of our agents that want to get licensed as loan officers.
Yeah.
They'll pay for the school. It's like $600. Takes 4 days. The test is hard, but you got if you pass the test, you're good. Now we can make all of our agents that want to be, or any agent, any company for that matter, we can make them an employee of Streamline, and they don't ever have to do a loan. And quite frankly, we don't want them doing loans because it's not your wheelhouse. But we can now legally pay you 50 bips on every deal that you do. And that's like on an average sale in Vegas, that's like $2,000.
You want to know something? That's actually new to me. This is the first time I'm hearing this from you.
We just did it today.
However, I actually got an email from a different company.
Similar?
Similar. He was pitching this to me, and it literally clicked. I was like, wait, this actually makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was doing the research. I was looking at it. I was like, you know what? This is cool, but I decided not to move forward with that lender. But it's just funny that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Where there's always different avenues to make money as an agent.
Well, everything, like you look at the transaction, and we try to reduce friction.
Yeah.
Create a frictionless environment, create an elite customer experience everywhere we can in the transaction for our client. And if it's a place where money is flowing out of our business or out of the hands of our people, we want to figure out how to capture some of that income back. For example, the deal we did with Apricot Solar, to where if you're buying a house, there's another thing. Like you look at somebody right now that says, "Oh, my mortgage payment is very high on this contract from the buy side." Well, okay, cool. How much is the electric bill? What's the average electric bill? Oh, we pull it up. It's $300 a month. Nevada Power is getting ready to raise rates again in December. But you look at it currently, it's $300. So now it's like, all right, well, if we could work out a deal where we can roll in you getting solar on the house, which will eat that bill to zero, and the lease on the solar is now $100 instead of $300 bill. Well, now I've taken $200 in your monthly budget and put it back in your pocket. So now maybe that $200 is the $200 difference in the rate from where you're happy to where you are. Now, for agents that do that, you get $1,000 if those people choose solar.
Now, I want to go back regarding liability. Is there any liability against the brokerage or the agent being a part of that program?
Man, there's liability in everything.
Now we refer a client on over.
There's always liability. I mean, we do a very good job through our disclosures of disclosing to everybody, like, look, if we have a financial interest in any of these, or we get any type of financial interest, we disclose it very well. It's in writing, signed off by all parties, that they understand. They also understand that they don't have to use any of these companies. They don't have to use any company we're affiliated with, any company we're going to get money with. You can choose whoever you want. It's just a matter of ease, and it's a matter of simplicity. And it's really trying to, again, create that frictionless process that creates an elite customer experience. That's the goal.
Okay. Now, I want to get into this because I think this is very important. A lot of people were talking about this. So, there was actually a lead attorney, Michael Cashmark.
Cashmark.
Right? Home sellers win $1.8 billion after jury finds conspiracy among realtors.
Yep.
Okay. So there were a couple of people that got sued here. The National Association of Realtors. I don't want to mention the brokerages out there.
No, you should, because it's public knowledge. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. So yeah, if you keep going.
Okay.
Right? Keep going.
So basically, what happened was the federal jury ruled on Tuesday that the powerful National Association of Realtors and several brokerages like Keller Williams and Remax and all these other companies, they've got sued for $1.8 billion. However, there's actually more money than that.
Yeah,
the
trouble
problem
damages.
here is that this attorney had filed a lawsuit, right? I think it was with Missouri, right?
In Missouri.
And I think there was over 300,000 homes. Now,
class action suit.
so the problem here is now he's starting to file more class action lawsuits throughout the country. And I was taking a look at this. Last year, I think we sold over 500,000 homes, right? So if we are getting sued for, $5 billion, this is probably going to be over $100 billion. And this is literally going to disrupt the marketplace. And the question is, how is this going to affect the buyer? How does this actually affect the seller? How does this affect, attorneys? How does this affect real estate agents, title companies?
Okay. All right. First of all,
Yeah.
I'm going to give my opinion. This is all my opinion on everything. Strictly my opinion, right? I don't know. Some of which I'll give you as facts. Some of which I'll give you as opinion. And I'll make sure I draw that line pretty hard when I'm talking. So the first thing I'll say is this suit was a class action suit filed in the state of Missouri. They were the prosecutor or the prosecutors, not the prosecutors, but the plaintiff's attorneys were very smart in pulling the jury. They pulled 12 renters, non-homeowners, on the jury. And the basis of the case is that National Association of Realtors, big firms like, and not like, these are the ones that were named in the initial case, RE/MAX, Keller Williams, Anywhere, which is the parent company of Coldwell Banker, C21, all those companies, Keller Williams, and one more. I can't think of what it was. But the idea was they colluded together to manufacture an environment where they standardized commissions, which is a violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act. And they wanted it basically, it was collusion. It's almost like a RICO case, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So they tried the case, and during the course of the case, I followed it pretty closely. I feel like they did a really crappy job of explaining what a buyer's agent actually does. So there's a couple of parts of this that cause the big problem. Number one is the lie that realtors always said 6%. They kept going back, and this is a plaintiff's words, not mine.
Yeah.
That they always go back to 6% as the standard commission, which for as long as I can remember, like I remember back in the day.
Like when you start real estate school, one of the things you learn is don't say this is a standard.
If you remember this, I remember back in the day, J.C. Melvin, back in the day when you first started, and I owned part of that Keller Williams, J.C. Melvin wouldn't even say the word commission in the building. And I remember that, it'd be like, no, pineapples, we don't say commission. Like he wouldn't even say the word. So to think that that is something that was rampant, I find that to be hard to believe.
Yes.
Now the second part of that, which potentially not in my company, and I could say in others maybe, was the habit of saying that buyer's agents' services were free. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is free. I'm free for you because I'm paid by the seller.
Yeah.
So those two things are really at the heart of the case. And when it came down, Anywhere settled for like 80 million. I think RE/MAX settled for like 52 million. Now keep in mind, this isn't like a national case. This is one state.
Yes.
One state precedent. Gary Keller vowed to fight to the end. NAR vowed to fight to the end. Everybody vowed to fight to the end. And then it came down the judgment at 1.8 billion, which treble damages could be to 5 billion. Now, first of all, you say they won, which is the fun, obviously, journalistic spin to it.
Yeah.
You win a lawsuit when the money hits your account.
And here's the thing. You're not going to get all that money. Attorneys get that money.
You win when the money hits your account. You haven't won anything yet.
Yes.
You just got a judgment. So that will be appealed, and this will go on for years.
Yes.
Now, the scary thing with it is that immediately upon that judgment, the same day, same attorneys, same state, filed against Compass, United, Howard Hanna, and EXP. Mm-hmm. So let's get the next big set of players and get them moving. I think the leverage there is to try to get some settlements out of it. But here's the truth of the matter. If that suit was to hang on and get settled, right, and continue to have other suits filed in other states or whatever might happen, those companies are done. I mean, you're done if you're named in that thing. They don't have $5 billion. Yeah. NAR doesn't have $5 billion, and I'm sorry if you don't know what that is, National Association of Realtors doesn't have $5 billion. Now, in the call today, and it came out in the news yesterday that the plaintiff's attorney is talking to the Department of Justice. 2 years ago, Department of Justice was looking into the same issue about commissions, and NAR came out and said and settled the case with the DOJ to figure it all out as far as how we're working it. Now these plaintiffs' attorneys are talking to the DOJ, talking about they want fundamental change in how the real estate business works. Now, what I firmly believe is the end goal of the plaintiffs in this case is not so much, obviously the attorneys want the money. Obviously, the attorneys are going to make 40% of this case, which is massive. Yeah. So they want as much as they can get. But I really believe that the plaintiff's goal is to bankrupt NAR. I think they want the National Association of Realtors to go away. I think that's what they want. Now,
you think this will go to the Supreme Court?
Yes, absolutely. That kind of money, without question.
Okay.
Without question. We were all surprised that we lost the case in the first place. We, meaning realtors. But it was funny. Now, what does that mean for the consumer? What does that mean for everybody else? Couple things. In most states, on the selling side of things, in most states, you have cooperative commission. It's how we've been doing things for a while, which means if you list a house and you pay your agent X amount of percentage, because there is no set amount of commission, whatever you negotiate to list your house with. And in Vegas, you see people doing it for all different amounts all over the place. You agree, and then that agent would agree to give a portion of that commission to the buyer's agent. Now, the change is going to happen. Now, a couple things are going to happen. Number one, I do believe we need a fundamental change within our local real estate board, because it is a local real estate board rule that you cannot negotiate commissions on the contract. It's not a National Association of Realtors thing. It is a local realtor board. So you've got to change that, first of all, because I think what you're going to see is buyers, when you interview an agent, now this is going to, it's going to cleanse the industry of my favorite kind of realtor, which is the lotto realtor.
Yeah.
Lotto realtor, for those of you who don't know what that is, the lotto realtor is the agent that gets their license just in case their sisters, brothers, friends, cousins, mother's butcher wants to buy a house, and they can put their hand up and say, oh, I have a license.
Yeah.
They can do that. And those people are going to go away. Because now on the buyer side, you're going to have to build value.
And you're going to want to hire somebody that really knows what they're doing.
But here's the thing. I love all these people, the argument. I gave a great example, what I thought was a great example today, and what I give to everybody when people are like, oh, well, people are just go right to seller's agent. They're not going to, they don't need buyer's agent. They won't have people support them. And my thought was like this. Let's talk about self-contracting a swimming pool. If you've ever done it, you can literally go online and Google how to self-build a swimming pool. It's not that hard. There's only about 5 contractors or subcontractors you need to do this. There's a handful of permits. There's designs you can buy online. It's not that big of a process, and it saves you a truckload of money. If it's that easy, why doesn't everybody just self-build their swimming pools? And I'll tell you why. Because number one, they want to trust and sleep at night and know that it's being done right.
Yeah.
Number two, they want to be able to pass off the liability to someone else if it's not done right, is what they want to do. So that's the same reason that people will continue to use buyer's agents, because you need somebody to make sure that the transaction goes right. And if you are good and have been doing this long enough that you can build an incredible amount of value for your clients, then you won't have a problem continuing to have clients. So
how does this work when, the average household income can barely afford a down payment, and now they can no longer pay a real estate agent?
No. I still don't believe, I don't believe that, because here's the thing, just because a couple things are going to happen. Number one, I don't believe that commissions are going to stop being offered by sellers. Yeah. I think it's going to work very similar to how new homes work. When it's a smoking market and there's deals, it's, what do the new homes pay?
Oh, it floats. It used to be
3%. No, but I'm saying, here's the point though.
But now they'll start. They're depends.
Like, right. But they're like, no. Like, I love to do. No offense to my new home people, but I love you for this reason. It's like, as soon as the market's smoking, you're like, suck it. We don't pay co-ops.
We don't pay nothing.
And then as soon as the market gets cold, they show up with the donuts. Like, hey, can we come in? You're like, yeah. Hey, we got 5% on standing inventory now. There'll be some of that, because you can't prohibit a public citizen from doing whatever they want to sell their house. If they want to offer an incentive to somebody to bring a buyer, then legally, I don't understand how you can tell that person they can't do that.
And typically it's really, it's disclosed in the listing agreement. Yep. Hey, I'm picking this thing up for 4%. I'm splitting 2-2, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But you're already disclosing that to the seller.
But here's the question. Like you said, how can the average person afford to pay a buyer's agent?
Yeah.
Well, how do they pay their loan officer?
Well, that's true too.
They pay their loan officer because it gets wrapped up as closing costs, of which you ask for concessions from the seller.
So, another thing is that, do you think that they're going to start to roll this over into the loan?
Yes. One of the things that came up on the call today is there is talk with the,
But then you're also losing purchasing power though. So keep that in mind, because if you need $20,000.
But you're missing the point. You're not, because there's this misconception of the way economics work that just because you're no longer offering something, immediately the seller's going to keep that money.
Yeah.
Well, no, because when I comp a property, I look at what it's sold for less the concessions. That's the true value.
Yeah.
So they're not manufacturing. They don't just get to keep the extra money that is here. The market's going to have to adjust through this. So as it adjusts, properties either have to come down in value, which lowers your buying power or raises your buying power, or those concessions have to continue to be made, which keep it pretty much equal to where it is.
So if a seller takes a property, says, hey, I'm going to list it, but I'm only going to give the selling agent 3%, the buyer has to go get their own money.
They can do that right now.
Yeah, and what you would do as a buyer's agent, you'd probably have some sort of buyer broker's agreement or something like that, and the agreement would be, hey, I'm going to get 3%. If I can't get it, right, can you still do that?
Well, it's really funny because I've been fighting this battle with our local board for probably 10 years, and they've never really been able to get me for it, but it's always been kind of like I've had some frown-ons with it, because again, they have a rule within our local board that we're not allowed to negotiate commissions within the contract. But I've been using this paragraph, and I know I've been using it so long that I know it without even reading it, which is buyers under
Hold
agreement.
on. Agents, if you guys are new,
Write this down.
You might want to write this down. This is good information.
Yeah. Which is buyer is under contract to buyer's broker.
Yeah.
Ensuring buyer's broker earns whatever percentage that you negotiated. Contract is being, or property is being offered in the MLS with a co-op of X, whatever it is. This creates a creates a shortfall of whatever percentage. This is a material fact closing cost now being paid by the buyer. Buyer requests seller make up this as a material fact closing cost, because I can ask in a contract for any closing cost I want.
Yeah.
So I'm merely saying that creates a shortfall because of a contract that I have, and that's how I've kind of done that. And it's not really negotiating commissions, it's asking for a closing cost.
Yeah.
But, you know.
The funny thing about it is I've asked for it a couple times, and on the other end, the agent was pretty friggin'
lose their mind.
pissed.
Well, here's what. Well, again, okay, this comes back to the problem.
Yeah.
Like, the number one in real estate, disclose.
Yeah.
It's all about transparency. It's about being as transparent as you possibly can be. And some of these less than scrupulous agents over the years have created habits of sitting with a seller and saying, I'm going to list your property for X. And then that is the number that they take. And then the assumption of the seller is it's going to be evenly split or offer X out to the community. And then they don't. They're offering a sliver of what they kind of implied that they were going to offer. So when you send that offer over, and I've had this happen too, where I'm like, look, we can do one of two things. You can change that in the MLS. I can print it out and I can send you a new offer without that closing cost, or I need you to present that one. Yeah. And I have had people over the years change the MLS. I've gone back to the buyer, taken it out because they didn't want to get smoked to their own client.
Now, there were times
shady.
There
Terrible.
were times where a lot of agents were greedy like that, where they would take it, let's just say 6%, and I get the commission instructions. I'm doing 2%. I look at their side; they're getting 4%.
Yeah.
Which is it's kind of bad.
I've seen it 5 and 2.
Oof! What a slap in the face.
Yeah, there was a person in town doing 5 and 2 for a long time. Again, you're selling your worth, and we're going to get back to that. Okay, this is kind of what this is going to do. Is you're going to sell your worth in the contract on either side, but it's going to be your responsibility to sell that. Now, keep in mind this has a long way to go before it has any change. Like what should you do as an agent different than you were doing yesterday? It's very simple. You should get buyer broker signed 100% of the time on your clients, because eventually you're going to have to.
Yeah.
So you might as well get in the habit of doing it now. I've been doing this with my team for, 12 years.
Now, what is a buyer broker agreement?
A buyer broker agreement is essentially an agreement where it's a contract stating that what you're going to do for the buyer and how much you're going to be paid. And it states that there's a co-op that is offered, but if it's short, your buyer is responsible for that. But keep in mind, as this goes along, your clients may freak out when they see that. Like if let's say you can write 30% in there, whatever you want, right? And then you can say, like, listen, just like listing agents, and if you've listed a lot of property in your life, there's been some times when you had to cut some commission in the negotiation to make a deal work. Like, you're listed, you've got your commission here, the buyer's agent comes here and you're like, look, we're right there to getting the deal done. Let's just kick in a little bit of our commission to get it done, right? You've got to have the scruples to be able to say to your client, look, if it's push come to shove, your needs are going to be before mine. I'm going to acquiesce that number to a place that makes sense. I'm never going to let you lose a house because of that number.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it. But I also feel like we're going to be able to roll that into the loan very, very soon. I think the second thing you need to do other than that is you need to learn, if you can't create incredible value for yourself in a buyer's presentation, you're going to have a real problem. And that's why, again, at a company level, like with Simply Vegas, we're constantly coming with things to help you guys build more value. Like our concierge department here, where, as a free service to anybody that buys a house, I don't care if you need cabinets, flooring, solar, what baseball team should my kid play on. You call the concierge department, they're there to help you and get you bids. They're there to help you get you whatever you need. And if you read a lot of the 5-star reviews at Simply Vegas, a lot of them mention our concierge department. So I'm very confident in that department's ability. Now, again, I just said this out in the air, so you're going to see like 3 other companies are going to spring them up in the next week, which is fine. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, I guess.
Now, as a buyer, you mentioned about, agents providing value.
Yes.
As a buyer, what are the things that I should be looking out for?
Okay, if you are an agent, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at somebody, you understand, the most expensive decision you can make is hiring the wrong agent on either side of the transaction. So you need to understand, the first thing I want to know is, does this agent want my business or do they need my business? And I'm a little scared of people that need anything. If you're desperate, they're probably not going to really represent you.
Yeah,
dude.
Trying to get the deal.
Yeah, I want people that want my business, not that need my business. If somebody's like, bro, if we don't get you in contract this week, I'm going to get kicked out of my apartment, that's a problem.
So is experience very important as well?
1,000%, because you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
If you don't have experience, then you're going to be in that need to category. Now, also, I'll say this, right? How much you do of something is way more important in this business than how long you've been doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, I know immediately when I'm negotiating with an agent, it's going to be a long day if they tell me how long they've been doing this.
Yeah.
Like I think today I was talking about how long we've been doing this. It's the first time I've talked about that in probably forever. Because if somebody says, I've been doing this for 20 years, I'm like, okay, that's one house a year for 20 houses. My team did more than that in the last 3 weeks. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to look at that track record of what they've done. Read the reviews. I think that people's previous track record is a good indicator of what they're going to do in the future, because you are gambling. You want somebody that is going to do, number one, you want somebody that is going to negotiate you the best possible deal, that understands how to get these closing costs paid, how to get your rate bought down, how to get all of these things done. 2, you're going to want somebody that understands how to go through the process of purchasing the house to advise you properly, to help you make decisions. And if something comes up on an inspection or whatever that doesn't make sense to you, that's willing to tell you to walk away.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately those decisions are always yours, but at the same time, you don't want somebody that's trying to close you on a house.
I think a lot of buyers don't realize how many people are involved in a real estate transaction.
Oh my gosh.
And a real estate transaction is not where you just buy a home and sell a home and that's it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that's involved as far as, prelim title reports. If there's a cloud on title, how do you address those situations? If there's a lien against the property, if there's a construction defect, what is that defect? Is it part of a class action lawsuit? Is your home really affected within that class action lawsuit, right? Who the attorney is. And if there's nothing wrong with the home because you've already done the inspection, it's, hey, how do we put your name on there just in case if something happens in the near future? So this is what people don't really see. And I think this is important by showing the value to a lot of the consumers out there that picking the right agent is very important versus just going with somebody you like.
Sure. Well, I am going to go with the flip side of that coin too, because there are probably some agents that work outside of the boundaries of where we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like if somebody starts asking me tax ramification questions, my answer is always, I have the best tax people in the world. Let me put you in touch with them. I'm never going to give people tax advice on anything. I just don't, because that's outside of the scope of what we do. If somebody starts asking me heavy, construction stuff, or is it HVAC stuff? I'm not an HVAC guy. I don't know this. There's just certain things I'm not going to do, but our job is to guide them, like I said, through the process. And sometimes knowing the best people makes you the best person, if that makes sense. So I think it's that overall satisfaction. And some people, realtors, probably try to do too much by not because I don't know why they don't hand their people off or refer them to the right people at times. Luckily, I don't think we have this problem in Simply Vegas. All of our people are pretty good like that. And I think we do a good job of connecting you guys with the best network of people that we can use to recommend. But again, I think it's all about getting the deal, understanding that from the second you start to the second you end, that person's going to be on your side. And I think that comes down to all the way down. If you filter everything to one decision, is ask yourself, does this person really want my business or do they need my business? Because if they need it, how do you really trust it?
Now, for the buyers out there, any tips that you can provide to a buyer right now to get a great deal?
To get a great deal. Some of the new home builds have some great financing that they have just locked in forever or buying down rates in the mid fives. That stuff's not going to last. If I was jumping in the market right now, I'd probably go there first, because even with rates adjusting and being able to refi within the first 12 months for free, still 5.5 is going to be, that's a smoking good rate. So I would.
I remember when I bought my first home, I was at 5.25.
Yeah.
I thought I was the man.
Oh yeah. Dude, that was
I would
ballin'.
still take 5.25.
You take 5.25 right now.
Yeah, if I can buy an investment property, guys, right now at 5.25, I would take it all day long.
Yeah. I think, from the buy side, that I would look at that. I would get somebody that understands and knows new homes. And I know you guys have it clocked. I know you do. I would definitely want to do that. I would also say that remember that nothing in the house, especially if you're a buyer that has a little bit of money, right? If you have some room to play with, you have a large down payment, you have some things. Remember that right now, there's a lot of trades doing not a lot.
Yeah.
And I've noticed just on the flips that the pricing you're getting now for the trades, meaning like if you want carpet, paint, cabinets, whatever, all that stuff is so much lower right now than it was 12 months ago. Because 12 months ago, or not even 12 months ago, but in 2022, when the rates were still really low and stuff was flying, dude, I have friends of mine that were contractors who were like, I'd call them like, what are you doing? They're like, dude, I got to go bid this job. And they're like, what do you mean? They're like, I don't want the job. And then they would walk in and throw these ridiculous numbers, just trying to blow them out. And then they'd be like, now I got to find someone to work, just come in and do this damn work. And I don't have anybody. Like, I don't know what to do. Those days are not going right now. So right now is definitely a good time to do the trades. So you don't have to find the perfect house. Find the house with the perfect bones. And then I'm telling you, if you want to make some improvements to it and change it and make it yours, it's a great time to do that, especially between now and December. It's a wonderful time.
Now, I want to go back to this lawsuit on the seller side.
Okay.
How will this actually impact the selling side?
Again, nothing's going to change until this is all decided. And that could be 5 years. Who knows how long this is going to go? It's going to drag out a really long time. But what I think you're probably going to see in a lot of states, it's interesting because if you look at like the MLS in Seattle, right, the Northwest, they have not offered co-ops in the MLS for years. They stopped doing this years ago. And it hasn't affected their market. The sellers are still, and I had a guy today on the call again from that market is like, we requested the contract as a closing cost and we just work it out and it gets paid. Again, this is all about transparency. It's all about the sellers understanding what they're selling, the buyers understanding what they're getting, and understanding what everybody does. And I genuinely feel if anybody on that jury in Missouri had ever bought a house and really understood what it is that we do and gone through the process, I don't think the decision would have come the way it did. I just don't think they get it. I think it was, again, this is not speculation. This is me interpreting the closing statements that you can read because they were out there. It was essentially somebody saying, make the giant evil people pay. Help the little guy. Let's win one for the little guy against the evil money grubbing those guys.
So we're probably another 10 years out. This thing hits the Supreme Court. I think we're probably good.
No, I think you're going to see it settle. I think the scary thing is this. I think if there's a scary part to it, it is the DOJ.
This could be worst case scenario.
Yeah. Okay. This is worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is the DOJ's interest in killing NAR.
Oh wow.
That's really, from what I got today and the vibe I got today from some players I was on the phone with, that's the vibe, which is, all right, so what happens with NAR? You know, if the DOJ is sick of this, because essentially, if you look at what NAR is yes, we are there to not me. I'm a member, but I'm not in no way running NAR. But the idea of NAR is to lobby and protect homeowners' rights.
Yeah.
Right? That is the whole idea behind NAR. But the word in there that I think may have an issue with the DOJ is lobby.
Okay. So let's just say NAR's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, you have all these websites. Do you think we could possibly end up to a point where a buyer can just go directly to a website like Zillow or one of these companies and find a property that they like, and it just becomes a direct sale with those companies?
Here's the challenge. And believe me, Zillow is moving. So been Zillow's goal forever is to go to a frictionless, agentless transaction. It has been their goal
could happen.
Forever. Yeah, it could. But again, I think, and this is not a shot in anybody. There's there's plenty of people out there that have the ability to say, I can go do this, I'll figure it out. I mean, there's people that FSBO their house for sale by owner. There's tons of people that do this. It's not uncommon to see that happen. But I genuinely believe that when you're sitting there, and we're not talking about like somebody's like, oh, Zillow's going to replace, real estate agents like that did travel agents.
Yeah.
And here was always my argument with that. I don't need somebody to hold my hand to tell me it's okay to book a trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
I don't need that. But most people, it scares the hell out of them to be making the largest single financial decision they're ever going to make, which is the purchase of their house. Those are the biggest numbers most people ever see on a contract.
Not everybody knows how to buy a house.
Not everybody knows how to do it.
Yeah.
So they need somebody there to be the lighthouse, to guide them through the stormy sea. So I don't think you're going to get to a place where that becomes the norm. Okay. I don't think people are programmed in a way to make that size of a decision without some professional advice.
Now, John, this was a great chat. We literally just ran almost into an hour. We
got
5 minutes here.
Yeah.
So, but I want to wrap this thing up. Okay. In the next 6 months, 12 months, where do you see the real estate market?
I see rates coming down. I see demand going through the roof. I see prices going up. That's what I see.
Ooh, I better jump on it. See, look, forecast.
Yeah,
Love
no,
it.
that's. I mean, you want to know what I see? That's what I see.
Okay.
I see. That's what I see.
Okay.
And especially, and keep in mind, I'm talking about Vegas. I have no idea what's going to happen in Topeka, Kansas. I don't operate there. I don't care.
Okay.
I worry about this market.
Also, you got a podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast is blown up. Spotify and all this stuff. I think we're about to hit what, number 10 or something like that. Something crazy.
The goal is right now, and I got to go with my team. We're going to crack the top 10 for entrepreneurship. Hopefully we'll crack it. We'll start charting today. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we'll crack the top 10 within hopefully 60 days.
Okay, so how often are you loading a new podcast?
We're once a week. I changed my podcast. I used to do it with Colt, who's the director of commercial here, and Chris Connell, who's one of my attorneys, and I loved it. It was like Clubhouse. It was like...
you guys were always having fun.
Dude, it was fun. We were laughing. But quite frankly, that was about me, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I wanted to do something that was not about me, that was about other people. So I changed it to Escaping the Drift from Power Move. And dude, the quality of guests that we've got through has been astounding and just dropping knowledge. The episode that's out right now with Ari Rastegard, the dude built an $8 billion fund. And I'm telling you, I have implemented some of the stuff we talked about yesterday off camera, but I've implemented some of the stuff that I got from him.
Which is, I couldn't believe you did that.
Dude, it's been, we could tell what it was. I don't care, but yeah.
I don't either.
No, So I asked Ari on the podcast, and if you listen, you'll hear it. I said, what are the two things they're going to do? Because this guy not only building an $8 billion fund, but GQ did an article on him about biohacking and just, amazing what he's been able to do physically, by just working at it. And I said, what are the two things I could do that will have the most impact on me? And he said two things. Do 40 sessions back to back as quick as you can in a 2.2 atmosphere hyperbaric chamber, and do transcendental meditation.
Okay, hyperbaric chamber.
Hyperbaric chamber. It's like a submarine. It compresses oxygen and takes you to what the pressure would be at 2.2 atmospheres.
So basically,
and pushes
you're going
oxygen
down
into you
below sea level.
No, you're just in it, but it just pumps the pressure in, but it pushes oxygen into your cells.
Now
that I haven't done yet.
I've seen a couple of that where I go get my TRT shots. Anyway, I feel a little bit claustrophobic. I've seen it, and I'm like, I don't know if I can.
Is it the tube, or is it the tent one?
No, it's actually a tube. It's steel, like 2 inches around.
Oh, it's the steel, but it's not the bag.
No, it's not the bag. It's steel.
Where do you go?
I'll give you the information.
Ask them if they can do 2.2 atmospheres.
I think so. I was going to tell you the other day, but I don't really know too much about it. But they've got 2 of them over there.
Okay.
And you go in for like 30 minutes, you hang out. And the crazy thing about it is they got to like take you back to atmosphere, so you can't just jump out. So when you're feeling like, hey, I'm nauseated, I got to jump out. We got to decompressurize. You got to ride it out, then we can let you out.
Yeah, it's like scuba diving. You get the bends.
Exactly.
Same thing.
But everybody says it's one of the fastest healing process for your body, and it really works.
Yeah.
So I definitely need to try that out. Now I want to go to the meditating part,
which is
when you told me that, I was like, wait, I don't see you meditating. But then you made a good point. If somebody's worth $8 billion,
I'm in.
I'm telling you this. That makes sense.
Dude, I went to a class here in Vegas. Super hippie, man, not my style at all. But I grinned and bared it. I went through it. And now I'm on like day, I don't know, gosh, I've been doing this now for 2 weeks almost. And yeah, I can't imagine now not doing it.
Okay, so tell us, starting your day, you get up,
meditate for 20 minutes. And then every day, sometime between 2 and 4 o'clock, I meditate for 20 minutes again. So 40 minutes a day I meditate.
And how does that make you feel?
Dude, amazing. Shout out to Cannon. Like, I mean, I'm shot out of a cannon right now on this podcast. I haven't had any caffeine today.
That's crazy.
None.
Okay, so now, if for all the agents out there that want to join Simply Vegas or just getting started, who is the best person to talk to, and how do we get started?
Just go to whysimply.com. And when you go to whysimply.com, make sure though, if you're going to talk to us about joining the company, we offer more than most franchises do, and we're a flat fee deal, which is great. But make sure you mention Chakits when you come over, and here's why: because we're about to have our Christmas party, which is the greatest. I think we have the best Christmas party. I see the pictures. I know they're lame. I know we have a great Christmas party. But at our Christmas party this year, and we're going to start doing it every year, we're giving away a car.
Oh wow!
And that car we're giving away every year, we're going to give away a Mercedes. We're basically every single agent that brought another agent to the company. We're putting their name in a hat. If you brought 10 agents, you get 10 slips in the hat. And then we're going to pull a name out of the hat, and that's who gets the car.
Wow. I definitely want a car, so make sure to mention my name. Also, guys, I'm going to have a link in the description below. If you guys like more video content like this, let us know in the comments below. Other than that, until next time, peace.
Does your house look like and have you been considering remodeling your home for some time now? Well, if you love real estate like I do and appreciate the attention to detail in the craftsmanship required to build a remodel or a gorgeous home, then I got the perfect company for you. Guys, I highly recommend Design Zone Remodeling. They are a stellar company that will turn your outdated home into your own personal sanctuary. They specialize in bathroom remodels, kitchen remodels, and full house remodels. Design Zone Remodeling has a reputation for excellent workmanship, competitive fees, and being able to offer a wide range of services and deliver the outstanding results to their clients. I use Design Zone Remodeling on my personal properties. Give Design Zone Remodeling a call today at 725-223-0871 or visit their website at designzoneremodeling.com to request a free consultation today.
Attention contractors, remodelers, and homeowners. Is your renovation becoming a pain in the glass? Here at Glass Vegas, we take care of all of your glass needs, from a broken window to custom shower doors, mirrors, wine enclosures, storefronts, railings, and much more. We can even help you with new or replacement thermally broken windows. We're a full-service, woman-owned glass company that provides unparalleled workmanship, excellent communication, and great customer service. Glass Vegas. We do glass with class.
Welcome to Closets Las Vegas, the city's premier custom closet and storage company. We provide complete storage solutions for all price ranges and projects, backed by our 20 years of experience. Whether it's a closet, pantry, garage storage, floor coatings, entertainment center, laundry room, home office, custom bookcases, and window coverings, Closets Las Vegas will give you the look and feel you want in your home. Please contact me, Pat, for your free consultation, and don't forget to ask about 0% financing for 18 months. I look forward to working with you.